Hey, what's up, my uplifting life partners? This is Ron Simplified Myers. For those of you, this is the first time hearing me speak. Let me say welcome and thank you for the support. I am the author of the book, The Relationship Success Handbook. Get rid of your problems, not your partner. Now, today we're getting ready to have an adult conversation because we're going to talk a little bit about sex. So, children shouldn't be watching this. And basically, what I'm talking about is get your head out of your pants. And what I mean by that is supposedly as human beings, our thought process is up here. But what I'm realizing more and more is that people are actually thinking with their pants though. And that's why I say get your head out of your pants. Relationships start to change and your life becomes more peaceful when sex stops become the driving force. We're in a society that has gotten to a point where we act like the only thing you're living for is sex. This is where things like the 90-day rule comes in, where you're talking about in 90 days, you know, the only thing I agree on the 90 days, you guys may have heard me do a presentation on that, but the 90 days, the only part I agree with is get to know the person before you went to bed with them. That's it. That's the extent of it. After that, I totally disagree. And because the most valuable thing or person or whatever you want to call is you. There's nothing that's going to be more valuable. To put your body on a calendar and say in 90 days, I'm going to determine on whether a person gets the opportunity to go to bed with me, you got to value yourself a little bit more than that. For me, if you decide to go to bed with someone, it's because you choose to. It shouldn't be because of what a calendar says. It shouldn't be because after 90 days you're playing with fire because he may go somewhere else or this and that. Here's the key. If he's gone back in the days when I was out there acting crazy, I can wait 90 days. I can wait 6 months. I can wait as long as you want to wait. If I like you, you got to understand if a guy is willing to wait for you, it doesn't mean anything except he likes you and he's willing to wait for you. Doesn't mean he's not going and getting it somewhere else with other ladies that aren't making him wait for any reason. You guys get me? Don't be naive and think 90 days means anything more than 90 days. People will tell you because nobody will get in a serious relationship with you if you go to bed with them on the first date. Nobody will marry a hooker. Nobody will marry stripper and all. I tell people all those are lies. There's people that marry strippers, hookers, whatever you want to come up with, people on the first date. People get married to those people every single day. Just because you're not willing to do that doesn't make it the truth. So my thing is we got to get to a point where you understand, quit using sex, your pants, as the way to make your decisions. Learn to value you. Use this thing here. And understand, I always share with young ladies that nothing and no one can get any closer to you than through sex. Think about that. The only thing that will ever get closer to you is actually having a child. And for you to take that so lightly and be concerned and your only thought process is, well, I wanted to feel good. And that's why you would let someone, think about this. This is why I say this is an adult conversation. Someone is inside of your body. Think about that. You can't get any closer than that. And for you to be so nonchalant about it, learn to value yourself. I even do it, and I know I'm unique from a guy's perspective, at least that's the story that I keep hearing, because I'm the same way. I look at it as I don't buy into the story where they say, well, you know how guys, we'll mess with anything, after 2 o'clock. And all. Folks, I've never been that guy. If I'm not interested in you before 2 o'clock, I'm not interested in you after 2 o'clock. Time has no bearing on what I will and will not do. I'm very picky about who I lay down with because I'm not a person with just any. I treat myself the same way I'm telling young ladies. I'm valuable. I'm sorry if some guys don't believe that about themselves. Like I even heard one of the very famous people, and I won't put the names out there, but he had made the comment. He said, ladies, you guys are the gift. You got to understand, you are the gift. You hold all the cards. My first thought was, I'm sorry you feel so little about yourself. Because see, I look at it as I am a gift. The woman that with me is getting a gift. It goes both ways. I never look at it from one perspective, like she's the only, like I'm the only one that's winning in this transaction. I'm like, no, we're both winning. And I don't want to be with a woman that doesn't recognize that I'm a gift to her as she is a gift to me. So with that said, I don't allow my pants to make my decisions for me. I'm not going to, just because a girl wants to go to bed, I'm be like, let's do this. No, I've always been picky. Because I don't know, you can call it arrogance, confidence, whatever works. But I've always felt I could be picky. And I don't have to deal with just anybody. And I don't deal with anybody. Mainly because I know that I'm valuable and I'm worthy. And I understand, just like I'm saying a guy's inside of you as a woman, I'm inside of a woman. And I got to be very picky about where I put my parts. Again, adult conversation. I got to be very picky about that. Just because you're open to it doesn't mean I should be open to it. Learn to value yourself, men and women. Quit letting sex decide your life. I've heard many young ladies say their relationships changed. They found the right person when they stopped having sex. I remember, and I don't know if it's still a trend, but I remember for a while there was a trend where they were talking to women that were over 30 and they were calling themselves the new virgins, because what they had done is they had cut the sex out and basically said, I'm gonna wait till I find my husband. This is women that had, of course, had sex previously, and therefore they weren't real virgins. That's why they said they were new virgins. But when they took that, kind of what I'm talking about, when they took that element out of their relationships and they said, okay, I'm going to get and learn to value me. That's why my book's called Get Rid of Your Problems, not your partner. I'm saying get you together. They took time to get themselves together. They stopped thinking about the sex and letting sex get in the way and sex being a part of their decision-making process. In other words, they stopped sex altogether. And then they were able to find the right guy. Why? Because they found someone that was into them and not just going to bed with them. And again, folks, I'm not saying that that's going to find the right guy for you. I'm not saying it's not going to, because again, there's people that first date, meet, go to bed, still get married. So all that other stuff people keep throwing out there are all myths. It depends on the two people. My main objective and the reason for this video is for you as an individual, as I keep saying, quit letting sex make your decisions for you. Think with this thing here, value yourself. Whatever you think is valuable, the Taj Mahal, Lamborghinis, diamonds, it don't matter. Whatever you think is valuable, you're more valuable. Learn to treat yourself that way. I was sharing that with a young lady, matter of fact, a passenger, because she got in the car, she was half dressed, and this was a first date that she's going on. And so for me, I know back in my younger days, if I saw a woman coming to meet me somewhere dressed the way she was, you sitting there thinking, you know what she's ready for tonight. That would be the first thought, right or wrong. And ladies, I want you to understand that if you come half dressed, you come out wearing your lingerie, and I know this might offend some of you because you think that's sexy or whatever. The lingerie is sexy. The lingerie is intended for one thing, to get a guy to want to seduce you and go to bed with you. And that's the purpose of the lingerie. If you wear the lingerie out in public, that is still the same message, but you're sending that message out to every guy that sees you. Now, if you do that on a first date, the guy has the wrong thought process. Now, where this relationship goes, I'm not here to tell you what is or what isn't going to happen. I just know for a lot of gentlemen what's going to be the first thought when you show up on a date, half dressed or in your lingerie or whatever, very seductive. You think it's sexy, and it is, but the message you're sending, it might not be the message you want to send. So I told her, I shared with her something I shared with a couple of young ladies in my past who had gone out with a guy, slept with him on the first date, and I just asked them, I said, if afterwards, if he had asked you to use your car, maybe to go to the store or run some errands or whatever, would you have given him the keys to your car? And they're like, well, of course I wouldn't. I don't know him well enough for that. And I said, yet you went to bed with him. Interesting. I know you're not telling me that your car is more valuable than you are. And that's each time I've done that, they go. Again, learn to value yourself and treat yourself that way. And so when I shared that with the young lady in the car, and she was like, you can see, and her wheels were turning, and we talked a little bit more. And as I got her to her destination, she told me, she said, you have no idea what you just did. She said, I'm walking into this date with a whole different attitude. I'm walking in here understanding my value and my worth. Now, I probably messed up that guy that night, because he probably was in for a good night. And some people be like, oh, Ron, man, especially some guy, they'd be like, that's against the man code. That's against, you call it what you want to. I'm not into no man code. I'm not trying to be part of the man's club. I remember I've had people tell me that we gonna kick you out of the man's club. I ain't never tried to join the club, so you can't kick me out of something I ain't tried to be a part of. I tell people, first off, I would never want to be a part of a club that I know, this man's club, that this theory thing that's out there. If I left my girlfriend, wife, at one of those club meetings, I mean, and we know we're just using imagination here, but if I was to send them to leave them at that club, there's a whole bunch of guys in there would try to get with her, which means I couldn't trust the guys that are in the club. Why would I want to be affiliated with a club like that? See, folks, everything I teach and share is to get you to learn to value and love yourself. I'm not trying to join no club. I'm not trying to be a part of no man's association or whatever you want to call it. Everything I'm going to share is I'm going to be authentic, straightforward, and share what I believe to be the truth. And they're my truths. Again, as you guys know, I always say it ain't right, ain't wrong. It's my opinion, because it is. But what I wanted the young lady to know, and like I said, I probably messed that man up. She probably would have went, with him that night. And again, I could be assuming that she may have been a lady that wouldn't have done anything. She was just dressed that way. But the message was not good. And so if I messed him up, I really don't care. My main objective was to make sure she learns to honor and respect herself. As I always try to share, especially with young ladies, when you learn to value yourself, he may have to put a ring on it for the first time. And again, because this is not a spiritual conversation, I'm not getting into that. But he may have to wait for the first time. And any guy that's not willing to do that, if that's your wish as a woman, he's not the right guy. Quit trying to make him be the right guy. I hear all the time people saying, relationships are so hard. I said, because you keep trying to make the wrong people be the right people. There's two keys to relationship. One is accepting people as they are, and the other one is communication. Accepting people as they are is number one. Quit trying to change people. Look at them for who they are, at least the way they are at this point, because we can all change, and we change on a daily basis anyway. But it's usually small changes. It's not a big drastic change. But if you can't accept the person as they are now, and you keep saying, well, maybe later this will change in him, or later maybe this will change later in her, they're not the right people. You could get with them later when the change occurs if you're still open to being in a relationship with them. But as long as if you can't accept what's in front of you right now, they are not the right person. Quit trying to make them be, because if not, relationships will be hard. Will we disagree with each other? I tell people you will always disagree, but they should be some small things. They're just difference of opinions on different topics. Those you're going to have the rest of your life. I tell people, shoot, give me 5 minutes. I'm going to disagree with myself on something. So that's going to happen. So my main concern in this particular video is learn the value. Sex is sex. People will try to call it love, and I'm going to do a video on that. Love, sex, intimacy, because they're different. They're not the same. Sex is just what it is. It's sex. The deeper the feelings you have towards the person you're having sex with, the more intimate it is, and you'll enjoy it more. But sex is sex. Too many people I hear do it on the first date and then say, I made love. No, you didn't. You had sex. It's just telling you had sex sounds dirty, sounds maybe like something you shouldn't have done. But that again is perspective. Because if me saying all you did was have sex and that offends you because you go, it was more than that, then maybe you have to view what you did. Just an idea. But anyway, learn to value yourself, and that's a major thing. What you do with your body. We know we talk about our health, how we need to eat healthier, get ourselves in better shape, and that's sex is a part of your body. You're still using a major body part. Learn when you share that part of your body with someone else, there's something tied to it. Again, now if you just want to do it just to do it, that's on you. But understand what it is. It's just sex. And quit getting upset when the relationship doesn't work. When you go, but I went to bed with him, I thought it meant more. It's sex. Quit looking at just how you can have pleasure and not the bigger picture, because folks, you all know how to do it by yourself. Again, adult conversation. You know how to do it without a partner. I know some of you go, oh, I can't believe he said that. Adult conversation. You know how. So if you're just looking for pleasure, you know how. I've heard people say, but it ain't the same. You're telling yourself that. One thing that is known beyond a shadow of a doubt is the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. It has no idea. In other words, if you imagined with a person a strong emotion and you just was totally engulfed in it, you'll get the same pleasure you would as physically, because your brain doesn't know the difference between if it's real or not. You as a person will say it's different because you know if you're physically touching them or not. But that will be but from your body perspective, it'll respond the exact same way.